Hi guys, welcome to the Strange Man channel. In this video I will tell interesting stories. What's the craziest thing that happened in your high school? Story 1. The football coach having sex with multiple underage female students. One of the girls was 13 and the oldest was 15. Everyone knew it, the teachers, the principal, all the students, everyone. No one, especially not the school administrators, ever did anything. This was Southern Alabama in the 90s. Football was king, and our coach took us to at least one state championship. Without a winning football team, you don't have football boosters. So it just went on and on, at least as long as I was in school there. Story 2. Two students planned and carried out a coordinated attack on one of the math teachers. By waiting by the top of the stairs between periods, and when he passed by them to go down the steps, one of them pushed him from behind while the other put his leg out to trip him. The teacher fell down the steps and broke his neck and back and was paralyzed from the neck down. The kids' reasoning, because one of them was dropped from the basketball team because he was failing that teacher's math class. Both of them were 15 years old, so they didn't get jail time, they both got expelled and were sent to juvenile detention. The teacher sued the school district and got a settlement in the lower 7-digit range. Story 3. I interviewed to teach at a high school once. One of the questions from the school board was, can you avoid sleeping with your students? Me, yes, I can. School board thinks I'm great, principal thinks I'm great. Superintendent of schools doesn't think I'm cut out for the job, gives me the runaround. Principal is trying to help me push through it and get hired, but I finally give up and get a normal job elsewhere. Superintendent hires his nephew. Wonder why he gave me the runaround. Who promptly has with a student and gets fired. I still see the principal occasionally. He always apologizes. I wanted to hire you. He's way too nice to have been stuck at that lousy school. Story 4. We had a softball coach sleep with his students, but a far more interesting story that didn't technically take place on school grounds. There was this kid who was constantly being harassed by bullies. They would even follow him after school and attack him. So there was this hardware store across the street and a lot of kids would hang out in the parking lot after school. The bullies chased the kid inside and cornered him in the garden section. They kept hitting and kicking him, so the dude grabbed an axe from one of the shelves and just started swinging. All the bullies ended up in the hospital with various injuries. Security camera got the whole thing, but I can't remember now if Gimli son of Gloin was charged or if it was ruled self-defense. Update: I followed up with my sister who actually knew the kids involved better than me. She was closer to their age. The news articles that came out at the time didn't really talk about the pattern of abuse that led to the axe kicking, but she did confirm that Gimli was sent to juvenile corrections for a while. She remembered when he got out, and as far as she knew, he was doing well. Edit. So I thought I left things vague, but apparently this incident was unique enough that people have found some of the news articles. There are more details about the subsequent legal action in those for interested parties. Story 5. Little bit of backstory first. Our school had a big renovation ongoing, and because of that, almost half of the school was closed down. The closed part included the biggest bathrooms, and because of that, the school administration ordered 2 toilet barracks to be placed on the schoolyard. So, some 9th graders decided to buy some toilet pipe opener liquid, I don't know what is the correct term, and aluminum foil. They put the aluminum foil inside some plastic bottles and poured a little pipe opener in them with the foil. As someone has probably done this before, knows what is going to happen next. They stuck 6 bottles total inside the toilet bowls in every stall of one barrack and blew them up due to the chemical reaction between the foil and the opener. All the pipings of the single barrack were destroyed due to water pressure inside the pipes. Turns out that the 2 barracks had connected pipings, and the water that was in the bowls in the other barrack shot up to the ceiling due to pressure. The students never got caught, and if I remember correctly, the incident ended up costing a hefty amount for the school administration. The barracks were taken away and were replaced with new ones. After the incident, every recess there was a teacher in front on the barracks monitoring everyone going in and out. Nothing happened to the new toilets. Story 6. Basketball coach was players' parents. When faculty and authorities started looking into the situation, they found that he was also posting in the classified ads as a Edit. Also forgot to mention the coach that replaced him was living in one of the basketball team locker rooms for a while. That whole situation didn't make much sense to me. Another edit: a lot of people are asking why it is illegal to f*** a parent. I don't think it is, but the faculty started looking into it after complaints of favoritism towards the children of these parents. Basically, I f*** your mom, you start varsity, and then the was found quite easily. It was a small town. Story 7. Star football player rammed my car with his truck on purpose and totaled it. Principal and vice principals all turned a blind eye and played it down like boys will be boys. He hit my car on purpose and nobody cared. My parents and I go in to see the vice principal in charge of student parking, And all the VP has to offer is, well, maybe we can have him pay your deductible. No punishment, detention, anything. His parents didn't seem to care either. Mind you, this is a car I bought with my own money that was in need of repairs at the time, that my father and I worked on as a project to get running and roadworthy for when I turned 16, so would have my own a car to drive. The insurance totaled the car and waived the deductible. I just had to give them the car and they gave me a check. Luckily, it helped that my parents had put full coverage on the car, so I got back most of what I had put into it. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I didn't do anything to deserve this. That guy and that school. I just want my damn car back. Story 8. There was a group of 4 tough guys at my high school who used to film each other beating up handicapped people at night around town. They would do the same to really drunk people leaving bars late at night. Unfortunately, they were not small guys and people were afraid to confront them. They used to drive around with the tapes and recording equipment in the trunk of the car they shared. They got caught because one day some shit happened and they jumped my friend group as we were biking down the road together. The 4 of us, being able-bodied human beings, put up a fight and hurt 2 of them pretty bad. We were also 2-3 years younger. This was very public in the middle of the day on a busy road near an on-off ramp for the local highway. As they tried to take off in their car, 2 Greyhound buses driving by and a woman in a minivan cut across the road to block the lanes and lock them in. The tough guys ended up driving off the road and through the debris and foliage on the side of the road and took off. Everyone got a real good look at them and police found them a few hours later with all the shit still in their trunk. We eventually went to court months later about it and they had the audacity to tell the judge magistrate they were just trying to teach us a lesson about how to behave. Fast forward 15 years, 1 of them is dead, 2 are in prison, and 1 is still living a real shit-ridden life back in our hometown still. Story 9. Before I describe what actually happened, I need to explain something about weeples. Weeples are, or were, at the very least, these little balls of fluff about the size of golf balls. They're often festooned with googly eyes, hats, plastic feet, or any number of other accessories, making them look rather like a crafting project undertaken by a group of 5-year-olds. Weeples were fairly coveted items when I was in 6th and 7th grade, because you could earn them as a reward for selling magazine subscriptions through this fundraising event that the school held every year. And if you had the right weeples, you actually had the chance to win a fair amount of money in one of the daily contests. If none of this is making much sense, don't worry, it was difficult to understand back then as well. Basically, you'd get different varieties of weeples for selling different amounts of magazine subscriptions. Then, every day, each weeple-bearing student would be allowed to pull a piece of candy out of a hat. If the candy had a sticker on it, the student would win a certain amount of money. That amount would be multiplied by each weeple that they owned, plus an additional multiplier for. Okay, you know what? None of this is important. What is important is that certain members of the school faculty viewed this entire event as a way of threatening or bribing some of the students. There was one young woman, for instance, who was told that she'd be set up to win $50 if she gave up her spot in some contest or another, so that the teacher's son could take her place. Another student was told that his winnings would be confiscated if he didn't take responsibility for the fire alarm having been pulled. Nothing really terrible happened, at least, not that I heard about, but there were enough shady dealings to make the entire thing seem pretty damned unpleasant, even for those of us who weren't really involved. The twisted punchline to the whole affair came about when one student offered another a favor in exchange for his weeples, and when folks found about the deal, only he was suspended. Not, as you might think, because of his involvement in the exchange, but because it was against the fundraiser's rules to share or give away weeples. TLDR, keep your fuzzy balls to yourself. Well guys, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye everyone.